ready to play another game, which is a blessing. So with that, I'll just open it up.
Let's go first to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, I know we've talked about the pass rush a number of times. Sorry, I'll put my video on.
There you go. Yeah, now I can see you.
Yeah. I know we've talked about the pass rush. I'm just curious, and your kind of feel for when you blitz. Well, what's your feeling as far as moving guys around along the line, right? As the balancing act between where they're comfortable versus maybe trying to get a matchup where you think you've got a bigger advantage, whether that's moving Frank up and down or moving Chris up and down.
Yeah.
What's your overall philosophy?
Well, we look at that every week as far as a matchup. I mean, we begin there, Brendan and myself, and if we feel like we got one, we try to move guys around. We do that all the time. And then we have a call where we let those guys decide that on their own. So we give them a little bit of freedom, but it's talked about every week. There are some calls that we have where, it's based on the formation strength, so it doesn't have anything to do with anybody lining up in a particular spot. But we do that, yeah.
Go next to Sam Mcdowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Sam.
We haven't talked a lot about Anthony Hitchens this year, but it seems like he's quietly kind of producing his best football for you guys. What have you seen from him from year one to year two in this system?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about Hitch. I mean, to me, he's the glue. And you don't have the luxury of seeing the guys like I do and seeing the interaction and the little things that he does. He does a lot of, I showed one this morning from yesterday's practice that I actually made the point that we all should feel fortunate that we have Hitch as a Mike linebacker, because he does a lot of things before the ball snapped and he helps everybody else play better. I'm sure glad we got him. I think he's playing some really good football. He's always has played aggressive. He always has tackled with, physically. And I think he brings that to the game. I think all of us, I'm talking about players and coaches, appreciate what he does.
Just as a follow, can you kind of expand on what you mean when you said you showed a clip of what he was doing yesterday?
Yeah, it was just a communication thing. I mean, look, we did something where the offense moved and motioned and he had to change a lineman, and then he had to turn to the secondary and let them know, something we were doing coverage wise and get acknowledged from the safety, all the things that go on before the ball snapped. And I think he's as good as I've had in doing all that. And I've been lucky enough to be around some really good ones, but you need that in any defense. The guy in the middle, it's like the quarterback on an offense, right? The guy that can control things and everybody feels real comfortable with how they're doing it, makes everybody play a lot faster. I believe that. And I think we're very fortunate in who we have. I can't say enough about him, to be honest with you.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Steve. A follow-up on Hitchens. Do you have any other stories that sort of illustrate what you're talking about with him?
Yeah. Well, I give you this one. And this is a credit to Hitch, and this is more as a person than as a player. Hitch strikes me. He's one of those guys that can, I think, go in any setting and get along with anybody. He's that kind of person. I used to sit. The buses are different now, the way we travel, because we travel a lot more buses and we're all spread out. But I used to sit right in front of Hitch on the bus, and right next to him was Chris Jones. And I used to listen to those two guys interact all the time. And Chris can go, and he likes getting on people, and he's funny. But Hitch can handle anything. Like, he's calm and peaceful, and he doesn't let anything rattle him. And look, when you're in charge, you're a leader of any unit, offensive or defensively, and you can let things roll off your back and just be solid as a rock. I think that's a great quality to have in the position that he plays.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, what has L'Jarius's comfort in the box and in the slot meant for Tyrann Mathieu as far as the freedom to use him in a lot of different ways and his surge here in the past two games?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Listen, Rashad Fenton was doing a good job in there too. We just felt like L'Jarius could do some things that we needed. It freed up Tyrann from having to be that nickel spot. All those times we were moving Tyrann around, it was really a credit to him that he could play all those positions mentally. Now I think he can settle in at a couple of spots. We still move him around. I think that makes us all better. Now we're still living through some growing pains with L'Jarius playing the nickel, but we knew that. And hopefully we can get ourselves ready to, as each game goes, that we can get better and better.
Got time for a couple more guys. We'll go Nate and then Herbie. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Steve, I want to build off that question from Pete. You mentioned Rashad Fenton. It seems like you got the 4 core cornerbacks in your system right now. Obviously, Rashad and Travaris on the outside. So what do you like about the combination of some snaps going to Rashad in the middle and some of them going to L'Jarius, and how those 2 guys sort of played off of one another?
Yeah, it's helpful. Listen, what we try to do as a staff, obviously, is get the best 11 out there we can in situational football, and then try to get guys and using the talents that they have in where we put them. And we like to be able to continue to do that. At some point, be nice to get them all out there at one time. We're not probably at that point yet, but we can find our way there because those guys are doing a real good job. The other thing that Rashad's doing a really good job of special teams, and I know Dave Toll appreciates that. So we'll mix and match. We believe in doing that. And when guys can grasp what we're putting in, especially if we add on to the scheme, if they can execute it, that helps us get better.
We'll go last to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, 2 quick questions here for you. The first one, you've obviously faced some pretty good tight ends this year, Darren Waller, Mark Andrews, Hunter Henry. What jumps out to you when you pop on the tape and some of the challenges defending against Mike Gesicki when you look at him?
Yeah, boy, he's a tall drink of water, and he can go up. He has a catch radius. I mean, that's one thing we always talk about with some of these really good tight ends is that the quarterback just puts it near him. He finds a way to catch it. And the other thing is he runs. These tight ends nowadays, I mean, we call them tight ends, but should we be calling them big wideouts? I don't know. I mean, he can run. He's nifty, and they find ways to get him the football. I think they do a good job with that.
Hey, Coach, we are here and we are ready whenever you are.
All right. Well, first of all, I hope all is well with everyone. As I say each and every week, I hope everybody's families has remained safe throughout this entire process that we've been experiencing. First of all, before we get started, one thing I wanted to do is just do a little special recognition, a special recognition out and a shout out to Pat Mahomes and Dr. Larry Duvernay for being nominated or named Sports Illustrated Sportsmen of the Year. That is outstanding. Okay. On top of that, Travis Kelsey being nominated, all right, to represent us for the Walter Payton Award, as a nominee. It just goes to show you the type of character and the type of people that we have in this building and what great leaders and role models for the mentorship that they provide in our community here. So with that said, I'm all ears.
Start first with Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Eric, how you doing today?
What's going on, Adam? How you doing?
Good, thanks. Hey, the touchdown the other night against the Broncos came on a free play, as you know. What's your advice for Pat in situations like that? What do you tell him to do in those kinds of situations?
Keep playing, make it happen. The thing that we want our guys up front to do, we want them to continue playing. We want the backs, if they're involved in protection, to make sure that they're not allowing any free shots or free hits on the quarterback. So we want them to stay alive in the backfield. And then on top of that, we want our receivers to get open, find a way to get open. And we're always reminding Pat, let's make sure now that we complete it. Don't give them a gift in case it's not on us, not on the opponent, excuse me. But let's make sure that we're throwing it and giving us the best opportunity to be successful.
Go next to Surin Petro. Go ahead, Surin.
Coach, I know like football is a physical game, right? And you can't win without it, but there's kind of a mindset I hear, and I even heard a comment around the league about, if you can't get 1 yard, you don't deserve to win, right? Like, what is that mindset going away? Like, should it go away? Is that like, I know, like I said, I know the physicality is a part of the game, but the goal is to score more points, right? Not knock your guy off his feet. If that helps you score points, right, that's a good thing. But is that mindset, wrong and being unraveled right now in the NFL?
Not at all. I think it's still an attitude and mindset, and a determined mindset. At the end of the day, this is a physical game that we play. And like I told our guys before, if we can't move the chains, that's a problem, okay? Because you have to be able to run it when everybody knows that you're going to run it. Now, obviously, it's our job as coaches to make sure we're putting our guys in the best situations to be successful. And sometimes we got to self-reflect and make sure that we're giving them the right scheme. But when it's all said and done with, it's about an attitude and a determined mindset to make sure that we can make it happen. We don't care. We don't care what you do, but we have to get that mojo going, that mojo back.
We've got 4 hands up. We'll go right down the line, starting with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, we asked Patrick Mahomes about the red zone, and he cited exactly that we have to be able to run the ball when when the other team knows that we're running the ball. What's your take on some of the red zone issues as of late, and how do you fix those as the season wears along here?
Well, coaching and lack of execution. So as a coaching staff, we always want to make sure that we're studying and that we're exhausting every opportunity for our guys to be successful. And then when it's all said and done with, the players' responsibilities is to make sure that they're executing their jobs with great attention to details. So somewhere along the line, we have to come together and get that fixed together. And then it doesn't matter. When it's all said and done with, every play that we feel going into a game plan is designed to score a touchdown. We got to find a way to make it happen. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. It's about an attitude and a determined mindset, but also, too, eliminating the mistakes and eliminating the penalties.
Next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Eric, how we doing today?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Hey, two questions related to what Coach Brian Flores said the other day. One, he mentioned that the last time that he coached against you was, of course, when he was DC for the Patriots. And he mentioned from that game to now, he watches you on tape and he says, you guys are better than you were now. Do you kind of agree with that sentiment that your offense has evolved since then?
I'll say this. Coach Flores is doing a hell of a job himself. He's done an outstanding job with his team. And first and foremost, thank you from last year for beating the Patriots and giving us that opportunity to secure home field advantage. But on a serious note, he's done a great job. He was a great defensive coordinator when he was with the Patriots. And you look at what he's done with this team, okay? Last year, that team played hard for him. They played consistent football. Now, the results may have not always been exactly what they wanted, but now look how it's paid off. He's laid a foundation. That foundation has been established, and he's doing an outstanding job. But one thing I am going to say, we're playing good ball, but overall, we know that we can play much better.
Last two, Darren, and then Nate. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Eric, first of all, hope all is well with you. I know you're not going to answer about coaching position, so I'm going to blame that on Seren from last week. But I do want to ask, according to what Brian Flores says, if you're not a head coach soon, something is wrong with the system or what they have in place. What advice would you give other minority coaches who will be in your situation towards the end of the season? What advice would you give them about the interview process? And also, how does it feel to where you know that players such as Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans, and then, of course, you got reports out of Atlanta that they want you as their head coach?
Well, and here's the thing. It's nice to be mentioned, and trust me, it's an honor. But when it's all said and done with, the only advice I can give to anyone in this profession is to keep chopping wood. Work hard at what you do. Be the best at what you do and where you are, because that's the only thing that you can control. And when those opportunities are presented, just make sure that you're ready for that particular moment, and then you make the most of that defining moment and maximize that opportunity. Other than that, we rely upon what we do. I'm here where my feet are. It's time to get ready for the Miami Dolphins.
We'll go last to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, EB, good to see you. Two guys I want to ask you about is Stephen Wisniewski and Martinez Rankin. They've been on the active roster for a little bit now. You got 4 weeks left before the playoffs. How intrigued are you to maybe give them a possible look or two in the coming weeks, and just how they progress? Obviously, Stephen coming from an injury earlier this season, and obviously Martinez from his rehab.
You know what? I think they're both are right on time with their progress. The thing that I like is that we got two veteran players that have played in our system that understand exactly what we want from them. They know exactly what to do. And so that's great. You always want very good, solid offensive line depth. And we've gone through that experience where we've had to play other guys. So we like where we are. Now, as far as getting those guys some play time right away, I don't have that answer for you, but I do know this. If that situation was to present itself, those guys will go out there and do an outstanding job. And we're going to trust them and doing whatever we need them to do to go out and be as efficient for us.
Field guy, let's work on getting in and out of breaks. And the off-season work that he does is amazing. We're not able to get with him at those times, and he's always trying to find ways to improve on different things. And when he comes back, he's improved, and we just try to add on to the things that he's done. And I think he's done a tremendous job with that. And also, brought along some of the younger guys with them as well.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hi, Coach Lewis. You kind of a unique question here. With Travis Kelsey, I know he's not necessarily in your group, but just how amazed have you been watching him as far as maybe the receiving traits that he has, even though he has this bigger body than most of the guys you work with?
It's been unbelievable just to be a part of the team and the organization and get to see him operate each day and each game. It's amazing, and it's awesome to see what he does. We try to use some of the stuff. Obviously, we're not as big as he is, but some of the intricacies that he used with some releases, shoulder placement, arm placement, and how he does those different things to uncover against coverage. We try to implement some of those as well in our room, the ones that fit what we're able to do. So it's been a blessing to be a part of seeing one of the greats all time play.
We'll go last two, Nate Taylor and then Sam. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Greg, I just asked Mike this as well, but given how successful you guys are against the blitz, obviously that's not just the quarterback as well, it's the offensive lineman and obviously your receivers. Just what have you noticed from your receiver group that gives Patrick the ability to be so successful when an opposing team blitzes you?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's about doing your job and being accountable to what everybody's expecting to happen. We do it a lot on blitz with the receivers, with the O-line, with the quarterbacks, with everybody involved. And it's just about being on the same page when those situations occur. And I think our guys, specifically the receivers, our mentality is to play fast. And if you continue to play fast, Pat will have an opportunity to find you because we have a great O-line, the backs, the tight ends, they're in protection doing their thing. And it's our job to uncover and give them a place to throw the ball. And we do that as best we can on a daily basis.
Let's go last to Sam Mcdowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Wondering about Sammy Watkins. When he came to you guys, he was a big time deep threat. And it seems like he's really carved out a different sort of role here because of your personnel. How different of a receiver do you feel like he is now compared to when he first arrived here?
I still feel Sammy can do all the stuff that we saw on tape and the reasons we wanted him here. He's capable of going downfield and doing those things. We haven't put him in those situations a bunch as far as personnel wise, but the capability is there. And he's carved out a niche in this offense, just like everybody else has within the offense. And it's about doing your job, being accountable and knowing what's expected of you and being the best at it. Now, at the end of the day, we're all interchangeable. Now, we might not all run 4-2 like Tyreek or 4-3 like McCole, but everybody that's in the receiver room is going to be able to execute the job that's called for them, regardless of who's in there. So it's opportunities for everybody to do different things within the offense. It's just that's not what has happened right now, but that's not to say it's not possible for them.
Well, we will get started first. We'll start with Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Mike, how you doing today?
Great. How are you, Adam?
Good, thanks. Your touchdown the other night was on a free play, as you know, and Pat seems to have a real knack for that. What's your advice to him in those situations? And Brad, I'll have a quick follow-up too.
Yeah, well, first off, Pat's been doing a great job with the cadence all season long, being able to get those guys to jump off sides and get free plays. I think that's a testament to just the guys trusting him to continue just to play fast through once the ball snapped, keep on playing. Then Pat giving those guys an opportunity. I think there's, a time and a place for getting the ball out downfield and then taking what they give you and getting an easy completion or a quick 5 yards.
Yeah, that seems to be a thing that you associate with veteran quarterbacks. You need to have maybe more, you think of guys with more experience than Pat. So where does that come from? Like, how did he pick that up? What did you guys teach him in that regard? And can you speak to the difficulty of it as a quarterback yourself?
Yeah, I think it's having control of the cadence, when to use it, how to use it. It's also just a feel out there in the game of, how are these DNs rushing? Are they pinning their ears back? Are they jumping? It's communication between the quarterback and the O-line on hard counts and those type of things. So, I'd say I'd credit the guys on that one. Just, they're being on the same page. And then, everyone on offense trusting that, hey, balls snap, let's go, get into our routes, let's get and work downfield and continue to get open.
Go next to Eb Samuel. Go ahead, Eb.
Hey, Coach Mike, kind of curious about Patrick. And just one of the things that's kind of distinguished him early in his career is his ability to make almost any throw from any platform, no matter what position his legs are in or how they are. Is that something that you can coach or that you have coached in him, or is that just an innate ability? And how special is that ability? How often do you see that?
Yeah, it's rare. And that was one of the things that, he really came with, coming from college, high school, playing multiple sports. He really came with a lot of that talent, skill from his arm angles and all that. So, I think Pat's gotten better and more confident with it as the seasons and years have gone on. But that's Pat being Pat. That's who he is.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Mike, working as closely as you do with Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, we're getting to that part of the year where we're going to start to hear about the head coaching stuff, and Eric doesn't want to talk about it. So as you work together with him, why do you think that he may make a really good coach in this league?
Yeah, EB's done a great job of, putting our stuff together as far from an offensive staff, bringing us along. He sets the tempo for the offense, right? So I think that alone and the success we've had with him and Coach leading it should tell you right there.
Thanks.
Eb, I think you had a follow-up. Go ahead, Eb. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No problem. Yeah, the other question I was really curious is, again, it's hard, I think, for us to remember sometimes. He's only in his third year as a starter, but first year as a starter MVP, second year as winning the Super Bowl. What is it about him, or what have you noticed in him that's kind of allowed him to have this very quick ascendancy when guys like Peyton and Brady took a while to get to those accomplishments?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about the offense is, and when I got here in 2017, was how much freedom they give the quarterback to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, whether it's pass to run to pass to pass, run to run, adjustments with routes, protections. And so we give the keys to the car to the quarterback to allow him to do those things. And Pat's been able to slowly each year gotten better at anticipating and understanding what he can get away with, what he needs, how he can get his job done more effectively. And so we just keep on feeding him more information, and then he's able to kind of absorb all that stuff and apply it to who he is as a player.
Take our final two. We'll go Pete Sweeney and then Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Pete.
I can't hear you, Pete. Your mic's off.
Give it another shot, Pete.
I'm good, Brad.
Oh, you good? Okay. Then let's skip. Let's go over to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Mike, I have a fun question for you. Given the level of efficiency in this particular category, are you almost happy when teams blitz Patrick?
That's a good question. I think, sure, when we can get it protected, it's nice. But no, Pat's done a great job. Our O-lines has done a great job of, being able to stay firm, backs included, tight ends. It's an 11-man operation. So I think, we put a lot of time into it as a staff, as a position group, and as an offense of making sure we can handle the pressures. Obviously, teams throw wrinkles at you, and that's what good defenses do. So being able to adjust quickly and use some tools and rules that we have in the offense to get the ball out quickly.
We'll go last to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. My question was about the blitz as well, actually. Patrick's numbers are crazy against the blitz, like 9 yards an attempt, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's still a young player, as accomplished as he is. How rare is that for a young player to be so comfortable against the blitz?
Yeah, I think Pat's done a great job. He studies like crazy on all the pressures. He'll review every single one that they've run in a season, go back multiple years, and then he has great recall. He's able to remember certain looks, and then you tie that in with a good feel in game, and he's kind of able to pick up little indicators on body language and tilts of safeties and stuff like that. So you kind of tie that all together. Pat brings the structure from what we talk about in the quarterback room, and then brings it out to the field, and it becomes an effective thing for the offense.